In this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create a simple hipster badge. So hi guys, and welcome back to a new design tutorial. My name is Manny, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to create this simple hipster badge in Photoshop. Alright, so let's get right into it. First of all, I'm going to go up here to File, I'm going to go to New, and first of all just add a new canvas. Now at the top I'm just going to write here Hipster, so that's my canvas name and it's going to be saved as that. And as well on the preset, I'm going to choose here my default, which is basically now 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. Now this is also my screen width here for my screen recording, so that's why I'm using this canvas size. You can basically use anything you want to. Now as well, resolution 300 as well. Color mode, RGB color, yeah, and the rest I'll pretty much leave to the standard settings. I'm going to hit OK, and we directly have a complete new canvas. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to unlock this layer, the background layer here, just double tap on there. I'm going to say OK. Yeah, maybe let's just call this background as well, so we can actually rename that right away. So first of all, I want to fill this up with a background color. So again, I'm going to go over here to the marking tool, just select the rectangular marking tool and completely fill the complete canvas here with a selection. I'm going to hit right click, say fill over here, select color, and yes, I've already chosen here like almost a very bright yellow, a little bit of an off white. So I'm going to choose that as well, again for this time, maybe somewhere over here. You guys can also get the readings down here. I'm going to hit OK, OK, and we directly have a nice background. I'm going to press Command D, get out of the selection. Now the next step that I want to do is again get some guides here. So I'm basically going to go over to my action palette. If you don't have this action palette and you're not sure about actions, have a look. I've created a tutorial about actions as well. Alright, so I'm going to select the 50% guides over here. Then as well just run that action, and that will give me a center point here with my guides. So I can now easily work and kind of like just work around the center point. Alright, so for the next step that I want to do is go over to some shapes. So I'm going to go over here and select the shapes, and in the shapes I'm going to select a certain shape down here. Let's just go to the shape menu, and I'm going to go all the way down to my last shapes that I have here at the bottom. And as you guys can see right away, I've got a few actually, and if you want to find these shapes as well, you can also go here to shapeforfree.com. you can download them there for free, and or go into my description and you can find all the information there. Now as well, I'm going to select this one over here because I would really like these edges from that. Okay, I'm going to minimize this again, and this time I'm going to hold shift so it's equally expanding again. I'm just going to make like a huge circle over here. Okay, so kind of like this shape, and I'm going to drop it. And directly you guys can see that this has the same color as our background, which I don't want. I want this to be black. So first of all, I'm going to go over to fill and just fill this with a black foreground color like so, just selecting it here or selecting it down here. Great. Okay, so we've done that. Now what I want to do is press Command T, not to transform it, but just to kind of get it into the center point here with our dots. Okay, I'm going to line it up a little bit bigger, a little higher here, and as you guys can see now, this anchor point is the center, center, center. Okay, so everything is pretty much in the center now. I'm going to accept that, and that's pretty much the start already. Great, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here so we have more space in our layers palette. And as well, as you guys can see here are these little white lines. They're a little bit distracted. That is still because it's a shape, obviously. So I do want to hide that. So I'm going to press Command Shift and H for hiding that. So I've got they're out of my way and I don't see them. Also, I'm working with a Mac. If you have a Windows computer, then please press Control when I say Command. Okay, great. So we've got our start now. For the next step that I still want to do is just add an anchor here at the top. So I basically went into the web and I just scouted for like a pretty cool image here from an anchor. So I basically found this, and as you guys can see, it's still very bad quality and it's not looking that good. So I need to replicate that again. So basically I just imported this image into Photoshop. I'm basically going to drag this right away onto my image here, going to drop it like so. We can actually delete this area, and we can also take our old canvas here. Maybe just move that canvas away. Okay. Now I'm going to select this canvas again, press F for full screen mode so everything is out of my way. We're not distracted by the background. Okay, so the anchor layer here, we're going to work just with that and afterwards delete it again. So let's just maybe move that into the center over here. We can actually move it, yeah, into the center. That's pretty good. Okay, like so. And next step that I want to do now is replicate this anchor. So again, I'm going to place it and zoom in a little bit with Z. Okay, first of all, I'm going to go and take the move tool over here and literally go over to the side to the rulers. Also, if you guys don't have the rulers, just go to view and select here rulers. There we go. There it is. Okay, so basically I'm just going to go over here to the side and drag some rulers out. And I basically just want to drag them until we get here to the side of the anchor. Okay, a little bit closer. Great, and the same from the top as well over here, just where we have some straight lines. Okay, like so. Maybe I need to do this a bit more precise. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. V for move tool and just put the lines here on the right spot. Okay, also going to take another line over here. So that's going to be our last point over here. And I'm going to zoom out again. So basically I'm just going to do that for the straight lines. This I'm still going to do with the path. Okay, so next step that I'm going to do is create a empty new layer. And this is going to be my anchor number 1. Okay, and first of all what I'm going to do is take the pen tool now and just replicate all of this and like kind of get a solid decent shape from this. So I'm going to zoom in closely, take pen tool and start right away maybe here from the top, go all the way to the bottom, these lines, and we're trying to just build the anchors now. So I'm putting a few anchor points here around the anchor, okay, all the way to the bottom here. And then as well going around, and now I'm going to put like an anchor point here in the center, but still keep on holding the pen tool and just move it out a little bit until this path aligns really nicely with the anchor shape, like so. Okay, great. Now lastly I'm going to take this step here, or this little point, hold Alt, move it in a little bit closer, okay, like so, and again do the same process, just put an anchor point over here, keep on holding, and we're going to create a really nice shape. Okay, and the same I'm going to repeat now all the way around. So basically moving that in again into this direction, because this determines into the next which direction the next path will go. Okay, so I'm going to put it up here a little bit and just put an anchor point, another anchor point. Now I'm going to put another anchor point, just rotate this a little bit and kind of repeating these steps. So I want a really hard shape there, or hard edge. Okay, and I'm going to go a little bit more around until up to here. Hold spacebar and just go down a little bit, put an anchor point, make a really nice curve there, and again our new line here is already going into the same direction. So again I'm just going to continue this a little bit further. Okay, now I'm going to take here with Alt this point again, move it in a little bit closer, great, like so. Okay, one more step over here, and now I'm going to go and continue just the last anchor point here right at the bottom. Also going to drag that out so we get a really nice round shape there. And I can still move this obviously down clockwise, anti-clockwise. Yeah, and just move this a little bit around. Okay, great. That's basically it. Now again, this last point over here with Alt, moving that up direction and just combining the complete path over here. So I'm going to go all the way up to maybe here and just completing that via going to the last anchor box here, just filling that up. Great. Z, going to zoom out a little bit, and we already have a really nice path for that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is again take the pen tool, hit right click and just say fill path. So hit fill path, and under fill path, under the contents area, we're going to just choose like a black foreground color here, and as well blending option normal, 100% opacity, and hit OK. So directly you guys can see that we have half of an anchor now. I'm just going to blend this off. So half of it, but we need obviously the other side. So very simply select anchor here, press Command J, so we're duplicating that layer. And next step that I'm going to do is go to File, or basically Edit, Transform and Flip horizontally. Alright, so we flip that horizontally. I'm going to move that all the way over to this side, and directly you guys can see we already have a pretty cool anchor replicated from our previous image here. I'm just going to turn that on again in order for also for us to get the top part here. So again, I'm going to create a new layer, and very simply now going over to the marking tool, right click, say elliptical marking tool. I'm going to hold shift again, so it's equally expanding our selection. I'm just going to make this nice and big, like so. I'm going to move that a little bit down. Great, like somewhere over here, still with my cursors a little bit left and right. So it's kind of in the center point. And on this new layer, I'm just literally going to hit right click here while I'm still in the selection mode in the marking tool and hit here fill. Yeah, and just fill this up again with black foreground color. Okay, now I'm going to press Command D, turn this layer off, and I'm going to press M for marking tool again and do just the same process again, but this time just for the smaller circle inside. Okay, also holding shift while I'm doing this, just again moving that into the center. and literally just turn that layer on, delete it again, Command D, get out of the selection, and now we have our final anchor. We can just turn off anchor number 1 here, actually delete that, we don't need that group anymore. Let's just select this. Okay, great, now we already have our anchor. So as you guys can see, these 3 layers make up an anchor. What I can still do now is select all of 3 with them, then just hit right click and say here, merge all of these layers. Okay, great. So now we have a high quality anchor here with also a decent edge. Yeah, and it just looks pretty good. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to view and also say clear guides at the top here. So again, first of all, the guides are away, and I can just again turn on my badge here, and I actually can see that we already forgot to change this to the background color. But that's very simple to do actually. I'm going to go over here just to the magic wand tool. I'm going to click once into the anchor, also going to select the anchor layer now. Let's just rename it to anchor as well. Okay, got that as anchor. Literally just M for marking tool again. We're going to hit right click and fill this up again just with the color. So let's under contents select color. You can also go with your eyedropper tool over here, the color picker. Say OK, OK, and directly you have the same color. Press Command D, get out of the selection. And now we can literally just turn on our shape layer here again. Yeah, and we can also continue now with our next step. So we're going to press Command T and just make this anchor a little bit smaller. So dragging that all the way down. I'm also holding Shift now, so it's equally going down. Okay, a little bit more. I'm actually going to leave it like so for the start. Okay, so that's our anchor right there. Again, we can also hit play here just to get from our actions again the center point with the guides. So then again, okay, here is the anchor, that's perfectly. Now we want to concentrate just on creating the hipster font. So basically I'm going to press T for the text type tool here, and just create like a big huge selection here again, and I want to write hipster in there. And already I've got the same right font again as usually, so I'm just going to write hipster, accept that for the start, and as well this type or this font here is called Lobster 1.4. You can also find more about that in the description down below. Okay, so the font size is around 40 as well, and here under the characters the spacing is also just set to 0, so actually called the tracking here. Okay, I'm going to accept that and just literally move that a little bit into the center. Okay, a little bit with the cursors again, moving up and down. This I can always move at the end as well. Okay, so hipster we have now as well. I'm going to go back to the marking tool on the left hand side, select the rectangular marking tool, and just make like a really nice selection around here. Okay, a little bit longer maybe. I want this to stand out a little bit, like so. Okay, going to move that a little bit in. Great. Also with my cursors a little bit again. Okay, and I'm going to press now, maybe just let's create a new layer first. So new layer first, and then I'm going to hit in the selection, not outside of the selection. I'm going to hit right click and fill this again with the same foreground color here. Okay, Command D out of the selection. We're going to zoom in really closely because I want to have like a little bit of a gap here between that line. So basically I'm going to just switch back to the pen tool and just go in here with the pen tool and literally go around like this. Maybe a step back, setting a few anchor points again, and also now this time I'm kind of having a look that I'm in the same direction as the peak is going here. Okay, combining all of that, right click, say make a selection here, 0 feathering please, okay, and just press backspace, delete that. Command D out of the selection. You Windows users, please again use Control, and as you guys can see now we already have a really cool cut here in between the hipster. Okay, so for the next step again, I do want to add a few dots here left and right maybe. So again, let's just create a new layer. I'm also going to quickly rename stuff here. Dots, and this is our line layer, so we exactly know where what is in case we want to replicate this again in the future. So I'm going to select dots again, or just dot. I'm going to go over to the marking tool, select the elliptical marking tool, hold Shift, and just create like a small dot over here. Like a small circle, circle selection. Okay, inside of the selection, again right click, fill this as well with the same foreground color here, color, okay, and we already got a dot again. Command D out of the selection, V for move tool, and I'm just basically going to move this down a little bit, like somewhere over here. Great, okay, I'm going to make a copy of that with Command J, just move that all the way over here, maybe on the right hand side, and as well going to place that a little bit further away from the R. And as well, I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to see how it feels and if it's balanced right and everything feels kind of right. Maybe the hipster can go over a little bit more, so basically going to take the hipster and line together, maybe also dots and circle, or both dots here. Yeah, and just put that a little bit more into the center here. Great, okay. So for the last step as well, I'm going to press T again for the text type tool, and I just want to write here since 1806 or something in that way. Again, going to make a selection. I'm going to write here since, all in capital letters as well, 1806. You can't see that at the moment because it's too big. I'm going to press Command A to select all that I have typed, and first of all going to change the size all the way down. So something like that. Great, but I don't like the font, so I'm going to change that again to a new font, which is basically under H. And again, I'm going to choose here Helvetica Neue. That's also in the description down below if you want to know more about it. Okay, I'm going to select that. That's all still in capital letters, which is great. But I kind of think that the font is still too big. So again, going to select all. Going to go back here, and I actually showed that in the other tutorials as well. Usually go to ultralight. I love ultralight. Yeah, and also the spacing now. I'm pretty happy with the spacing. If you want, you can take it like up another 20 or 30, 40%. Okay. As well, the height here, maybe the font size. Going to set that to 14 pixels. Okay. Yeah, and that's pretty good so far. Also with the move tool again, just moving that again into the center somewhere. So having a look here. Yeah, maybe I can even make it a bit smaller once I'm done. But for the start, I'm pretty happy. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to view and just say here clear. No, maybe I need the guides still, so I'm not going to clear the guides at the moment. Because I still want to create now a little bit of like an outer stroke around this outer badge here. So again, we're going to go to shape 1. We're going to double click on here and we're going to go to stroke. Let's just move that all the way over to the side. First of all, we're going to choose a new color. Basically, again, the same color as our background. I'm going to hit OK. And as well, now for this size, I don't want to have the stroke going to the outside. I want to go for the inside. So again, over here in position, I'm going to place inside. And as well, maybe 4 is a little bit too small. What about 6? Let's give that a try. Yeah, and 6 looks a little bit better. Okay, so as you guys can see, it already goes here in the inside. I'm going to say OK, zoom in a little bit closer so you guys can actually see the stroke here around our shape. But now obviously I still want another shape around the outside that it's also black a little bit. And that's very simple. I'm basically just going to duplicate this shape layer via Command J. Also turn off the effects here from the bottom. We don't need that at the moment. Take it all the way down so it's underneath our first layer again, because obviously this has the shape on and this doesn't, and they're still the same size. So now the trick comes in. Very simple. I'm going to press Command T and just literally make this a little bit bigger. So hold Shift again and as well select an anchor point over here, and I'm just going to drag that out like a little bit bigger. Going to accept that, and with the move tool, literally a little bit to the left, literally a little bit down. Yeah, and then going to play a little bit with this. Okay, I still need to make it a little bit more bigger. So again, Command T, again the anchor point here, and again a little bit bigger. Okay, going to accept that while just pressing enter. Yeah, a little bit more down here, a little bit more up. And that's basically it. So if it's still too big, I can still always tweak it down again. Let's maybe go over to view, clear the guides, zoom out a little bit so we can see it a little bit further away. Yeah, and that looks actually great. Kind of gives a really cool effect. So yeah, that's basically it. If you guys want to still be more creative, you can also add some more lines here onto the background, basically shape number 1. Let's maybe rename this to shape 2. Okay, shape 2 like so. And I can still also select all with Shift, Command G, put it into a group, and you can just write here as your badge. Okay, great. So that's also a simple way how to create that. And if you want to create some more lines, just take the shape layer here, number 1, and create some shapes and some lines here for the background. And then obviously just take the opacity down a little bit. So that would maybe also add another touch to this. Yeah, so that's basically all for this tutorial. If you guys like this tutorial, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as well subscribe. Thanks guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next tutorial. Bye bye.